Lincoln's formative years. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, rose from humble beginnings to become an iconic figure. Born in a log cabin in Hodgenville, Kentucky, Lincoln's early life was marked by poverty. His parents, Thomas and Nancy, were farmers with limited means. Lincoln's formal education was limited, but he had an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. He taught himself by reading borrowed books, often by the light of a fireplace. Favorites included the Bible, Aesop's Fables, and Life of Washington. Despite challenges, Lincoln developed a strong work ethic and determination. He worked various jobs, instilling values of honesty and hard work. His humble origins shaped his empathy for the common man. Section 2. A thirst for knowledge, self-education and early career. Driven by a relentless pursuit of knowledge, Lincoln continued to educate himself while working various jobs. He studied law independently, borrowing books from local attorneys. In 1834, he passed the bar exam and began practicing law in Illinois. Lincoln's legal career flourished as he gained a reputation for his honesty, sharp wit, and ability to connect with juries. He handled a wide range of cases from criminal defense to corporate law. His experience as a lawyer further honed his skills in logic, argumentation, and public speaking. As Lincoln's law practice grew, so too did his involvement in local politics. He was elected to the Illinois legislature in 1834 as a member of the Whig Party. During his time in the legislature, he advocated for internal improvements, such as roads and canals, to promote economic development. Lincoln's political views were shaped by his belief in the principles of self-government, individual liberty, and equality of opportunity. He opposed the expansion of slavery into new territories, arguing that it violated the fundamental rights of African Americans. Section 3. The Call of Politics, Lincoln's entry into public service. Lincoln's political career gained momentum as he emerged as a rising star in the Whig Party. He served 4 terms in the Illinois legislature, where he developed a reputation as a skilled debater and a champion of the common man. In 1846, Lincoln was elected to the United States House of Representatives. He served 1 term, during which he opposed the Mexican-American War, arguing that it was an unjust war of aggression. Lincoln's opposition to the war cost him politically, and he was defeated for re-election in 1848. Despite this setback, Lincoln remained active in politics. He joined the newly formed Republican Party in 1854, which opposed the expansion of slavery. Lincoln's eloquence, wit, and unwavering moral compass made him a sought-after speaker at Republican rallies and conventions. Lincoln's speeches during this period articulated his belief that slavery was a moral evil that threatened the very fabric of the nation. He argued that the United States could not continue to exist as a house divided against itself on the issue of slavery. Section 4. A House Divided, Lincoln's Stance on Slavery. Lincoln's views on slavery evolved over time, but he consistently maintained that it was a moral wrong. He believed that the Declaration of Independence's assertion that all men are created equal applied to all people, regardless of race. In his famous House Divided speech, delivered in 1858, Lincoln argued that the nation could not endure permanently half slave and half free. He predicted that it would eventually become all one thing or all the other. Lincoln's opposition to slavery was rooted in his belief in the principles of equality and human dignity. He believed that slavery was a stain on the nation's soul and that it must be abolished. However, Lincoln also recognized the practical difficulties of ending slavery. He advocated for a gradual approach to emancipation, proposing compensated emancipation and colonization as possible solutions. Lincoln's pragmatic approach to the issue of slavery reflected his desire to find a peaceful solution to a deeply divisive issue. The 1860 presidential election took place against a backdrop of intense sectional tensions and growing fears of disunion. The issue of slavery had driven a wedge between the North and the South, pushing the nation to the brink of civil war. Lincoln emerged as the Republican nominee for president. His platform called for the prevention of the expansion of slavery into new territories, but pledged to uphold the institution where it already existed. In the general election, Lincoln faced a divided Democratic Party. The Southern Democrats nominated John C. Breckinridge, who supported the expansion of slavery. The Northern Democrats nominated Stephen Douglas, who advocated for popular sovereignty, allowing residents of territories to decide whether or not to allow slavery. Lincoln won the election without carrying a single Southern state. His victory was a testament to the growing strength of the Republican Party and the deep divisions within the Democratic Party. However, Lincoln's election was met with outrage in the South. Following Lincoln's election, 11 Southern states seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. The Civil War began on April 12, 1861, when Confederate forces attacked Fort Sumter in South Carolina. Lincoln responded to the secession crisis with a firm hand. He called for 75,000 volunteers to suppress the rebellion and insisted that the Union was perpetual and could not be dissolved. As Commander-in-Chief, Lincoln faced the daunting task of leading a nation at war with itself. He oversaw the Union war effort, appointing generals, mobilizing troops, and managing the economy. Lincoln's leadership during the Civil War was characterized by his determination to preserve the Union, his political acumen, and his deep compassion for the soldiers fighting and dying on both sides of the conflict. As the Civil War raged on, Lincoln came to believe that emancipation was a military necessity. He recognized that freeing the slaves in the Confederacy would weaken the Southern war effort and bolster the Union cause. On January 1, 1863, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. This historic document declared that all slaves held in Confederate territory shall be thenceforward, and forever free. The Emancipation Proclamation was a turning point in the Civil War. It transformed the conflict from a war to preserve the Union into a war to end slavery. The proclamation also had profound international implications, rallying abolitionists around the world to the Union cause. While the Emancipation Proclamation did not immediately free all slaves in the United States, it was a crucial step toward ending slavery and achieving equality for African Americans. In November 1863, Lincoln delivered one of the most famous speeches in American history at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The Gettysburg Address, just 272 words long, eloquently expressed the meaning of the Civil War and the ideals for which the Union soldiers had fought and died. Lincoln began his address by invoking the principles of equality and self-government enshrined in the Declaration of Independence. He honored the sacrifices of the soldiers who had fallen at Gettysburg, declaring that they had given the last full measure of devotion. He challenged them to ensure that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. On April 14, 1865, just days after the Confederate surrender at Appomattox Courthouse, Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer, while attending a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Lincoln's assassination sent shockwaves throughout the nation and the world. The man who had guided the Union through its darkest hour was gone, leaving a void in the hearts of millions. Lincoln's death was a profound loss for the nation. He was a towering figure who had led the country through its greatest crisis. His assassination was a tragic end to a life dedicated to preserving the Union and advancing the cause of freedom. Despite his untimely death, Lincoln's legacy has continued to inspire generations of Americans. He is revered as one of the nation's greatest presidents, remembered for his leadership during the Civil War, his eloquence, his humility, and his unwavering commitment to the principles of equality and justice. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation and his support for the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which abolished slavery, cemented his place as a champion of human rights. His Gettysburg Address remains a timeless expression of the ideals of democracy and self-government. Lincoln's presidency transformed the nation. He preserved the Union, abolished slavery, and laid the groundwork for a more just and equitable society. His legacy continues to shape American politics, culture, and identity. Abraham Lincoln's journey from humble beginnings to the presidency is a testament to the enduring power of the American dream. His life and legacy embody the values of hard work, determination, and unwavering belief in the principles of equality and justice. Lincoln's leadership during the Civil War preserved the Union and ended slavery, forever changing the course of American history. His eloquence, compassion, and unwavering commitment to the principles enshrined in the Declaration of Independence continue to inspire generations of Americans. As we reflect on the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln, let us remember his words, "With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right. Let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations."